yesterday. This looks like fresh carbonate.
Yeah, fresher, for sure.
Yeah. In geological terms.
Yeah,
air quotes.
we're going between fish and ecological time and geological time very rapidly in our conversations. But yeah, we're talking, potentially decades to centuries to thousands, or tens of thousands of years when we talk about fresh rock surfaces, since these iron manganese crusts, as I was mentioning just a few minutes ago, are take a long time to precipitate out onto the rock surface.
All right. You want to snap it?
That's all dependent on the depth, of course.
I think it's rock.
Fish-shaped rock.
What? I thought that was just carbonate.
Yeah.
So it might be getting a little steeper. According to HiPAC, we're approaching the steepest part of the slope.
All right.
Jelly coming into center from bottom.
Could frame it.
Pilot, this is watch lead.
Go ahead, watch lead.
Could we possibly collect one of these loose rocks? Are you in a position to do a collection?
Ship stopped moving 4 minutes ago. We're probably about at the end of Sirius's swing, so.
I think so. Which rock would you like?
Any of these loose ones that are maybe 10 centimeters in size.
Light in color?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, any color. Shouldn't be choosy. You never know. We could find out they're all pretty hard, stuck to the wall.
Little current test. I want to see which direction the sediment's blowing.
How's this one look right in front of us?
That looks good.
All right. Co-pilot.
Yep.
You joy lock, please. Right now.
Joy locks in. I am in a comfortable position. I'm going to take your HD2.
All right. Got hydraulics up.
Taking control. You are ramped up, ready to roll.
All right.
Keep an eye on vehicle positioning.
Will do.
I'll watch it over here as well.
We're going to do a quick rock collection because the terrain is getting a little steep here and we don't want to miss out on a potential geological sample. It's pretty difficult to work on vertical or near vertical bottom, so we're going to try and do it here, and then we'll be on our way.
Want me to bring it in
and a lot of the geological specimens will be useful to scientists who study this area to better interpret the geological layers and lithification, as well as the age of some of the rock in this area.
All right.
Is that muddy?
Might be.
Is that too soft, watch lead?
I think so.
What's your grip force?
Yeah, maybe let's...
5 out of 9.
Looks pretty hard. Yeah. It's coming apart now. I would say pass on it.
Understood.
Worth a shot.
Gonna follow you over with me so you can stow.
Or do you just want to grab it?
Maybe just pass, yeah. It might just fall apart when we put it in our box.
It does look very chalky, though. More chalky than the mud balls we were trying to sample yesterday.
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
Coming back to middle.
We did manage to get a very solid rock yesterday.
Yeah, it was a pretty big rock.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll keep the ship here and you can try to find another one nearby.
Yeah, there's 2 other candidates up here.
Taking back.
Look very similar, however.
Screen.
Well, actually, do you want me to try this other one here? Is it?
If you can fit it, yeah, it's worth a shot, right?
This is probably the smaller one on the right. I think I could give that one a shot.
Looking down at you for 2 degrees on the serial scan.
All right.
Sirius should be settled up by now.
I agree. I don't think I've moved too much.
All right, co-pilot. Can you joy lock me?
Yep, coming into joy lock now. 1 second. There you go. You got joy lock. Do you want to make an adjustment? Are you happy?
Yeah, let's settle here.
Okay, you are still ramped up. I'll take back mini.
This is also pretty soft. Yeah.
You're drifting?
Yeah, I think we're really looking for something solid.
Okay.
Appreciate you trying, though.
Yeah.
This has been more or less the type of rock we've been seeing since the beginning. It's,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know what it's made of. Some sort of conglomeration of sediments and
Taking back my camera.
something.
We'll keep an eye out. See what we see here.
So there's a pretty, I wasn't expecting all this sediment drape on this.
I think
Yeah, given the currents in the
still
area, I
keep
thought it would be a bit more scoured as
searching
well.
for
Yeah.
Give it a few more minutes.
Copy that.
He's got some tether now to work with.
But we are about 7
Um,
miles from shore.
Looks like it's going to get a little steeper.
Not too
about,
far offshore.
You know, a little less than 40 meters ahead.
It's a rather
Something
steep
the next one will
scarp
be
as well.
20 meters.
Copy that.
Fish.
Yeah. The unknown.
Could snap it.
Yep,
A
the very
fin form.
same.
Yeah.
Take more if you got it.
We've got good imagery of it.
This is still the only fish we've
described
seen,
it
right?
as
Yeah, this
undescribed.
is the third
All right.
individual.
While you were at lunch, we found another polyopogon, same sponges we were seeing yesterday.
Oh, okay.
We are in the depth range. From the eastern Atlantic, polyopogon has been collected at a depth
Yeah,
of
it's really
24 to
all the white.
2,700 meters, I think. So it's in the
Oh,
depth
same,
range.
all
I
the
think
white
the
stuff is the same,
3,100
similar.
meter
Yeah.
collection we made yesterday was
Darker spots.
one of the
It looks
deeper
loose.
records.
This is pretty steep. So
They
any
haven't been
heavier
collected
rock that comes
in
is
the
probably rolls downhill.
in the U.S.
Yeah.
Caribbean before, right? This was
That-
the first
That
collection,
one,
to our knowledge.
looked
That's my
left,
understanding,
looks a little
yeah.
more square. And you have more thickness to it.
Copy. 1 second. 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 1
watch lead. Is this rock something you'd be interested in? Got lasers on.
Yeah,
I can't tell if it's attached.
This white material is, yeah, it gives me some pause because I think it's all made out of this really friable, yeah.
Okay. So we'll keep going then, I guess. Or would you like to still try it?
Yeah, let's try.
Let's try,
Understood.
because it looks like a little maybe darker towards the end.
It's worth a try, yeah, just so we can check that box.
What do we think this stuff is made of?
Yeah, I
I
need this.
Where's the geologist?
Yeah, we need to shine our geologist signal into the sky.
Copilot, Joylock, one more time.
The symbol of a rock.
Joylock is on. Okay. I feel comfortable with Syria sticking your...
Well, it's been found in the past here during some previous expeditions that...
It's mostly carbonate,
go
right?
back to... It's mostly carbonate, yeah. I carbonate and sediment.
Going for the one a little further out, correct?
Yeah, out here.
Copy that. Seems a little bit stiffer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the previous work that's been done in this area in Mona Canyon has described this rock only as being carbonate, nothing specific.
All right, I have a pretty good grip
there you
force
go.
on it. It seems quite a bit more solid.
Yeah, I think
You
that
want me to
looks
take your
great,
camera
Pilot.
so we can get a good twirl?
No,
Got it?
I don't have that good of a grip on it. I only have one finger.
Copy that.
So we're going to go starboard rock box. You can go ahead and bring it inboard for me.
Okay, bringing it inboard. Starboard wing, inboard. How far would you like it?
All the way.
All the way. Coming all the way. All the way. Follow you down with me. You're stuck on the handle.
Got perfect shape.
A lot of this material has either fallen down slope or is not too far removed from where it might have broken off.
Excellent.
Sorry,
Okay,
may
when you're
have
ready,
been pretty
bring it out forward.
moved pretty
Go
far
for it.
from where it has
Coming out
broken
forward.
off. We're on a pretty steep slope, and it's not uncommon for material to be falling downhill. When we landed on bottom, there wasn't much, but we were seeing some pretty
Starboard wing
substantial
outboard.
sediment ripples
Stabling
and
dock
drifts from the current along the seafloor.
Arm secured.
Those seem to be
Up and down HPU.
gone now, but
Stabling.
fairly
And returning to
fairly
my
uniform type of this white carbonate. There isn't too much
camera. Excellent,
it's
stable pilot.
pockets of manganese crust.
So I wonder what the communities are going to be like if we start, if this is like fresh, maybe because of the currents, or I don't know.
The currents, yeah, it's optimistic that we might find attached fauna. We found an Evoplasoma sea star that was a known coral predator, a bamboo coral predator.
20-meter move at 0.85.
In the vicinity, a little bit lower on the dive. But it's entirely possible to have those types of encrusting fauna here and attached fauna. Although, given the friability of some of this rock, it doesn't look too well consolidated. It may provide a difficult substrate
Coming back on with the
for
lasers.
larger
Great.
attached organisms to grow. There's another sponge.
Yeah.
I'm going to snap it. Just get a quick.
These sponges,
Saw a couple of these.
Poliopogon, are not exactly the same height and size as we were seeing yesterday. They're much larger. This one's only about maybe 20 centimeters.
All right, when you're clear, video. All right. Got that one. Keep moving here.
Where it's getting a little bit steeper, I'm getting.
But they seem to face towards the
14 to
current.
15.
Sounds great.
The
Nice.
backside of it, yeah, or the
The
concave part.
Yeah, if the current's going south to north, wouldn't that be?
South to north. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to tell if the current
Okay, I'm
is
going to go ahead and call it 20
variable here,
meters,
or if it's just
085.
unidirectional.
ROV nav.
How about it
The
looks like
yesterday
I'd
we
like
were
to
also
request a
seeing
move,
they were
please.
concave
20
on
meters, 20 meters, bearing 085, speed decimal 2 knots.
downslope side. So yesterday,
Good copy.
what kind of currents do we have?
I don't know if we know the direction of yesterday's currents.
If I recall, it was pretty calm.
Look
Not-
at the
Yeah.
edge where it goes from
Nothing like
black
too
this.
to white.
appreciable.
See how thick the manganese is?
There's a lot of exposed rock
Let me
surface here.
settle in, rolling.
This white material, and on top it looks like you could see that thick layer of manganese crust. Can we zoom in on this
Yeah,
layering?
setting up for it now.
Looking at
Thank
you
you.
at
Coming partial?
3-0 on the camera.
Go to the top line.
Copy.
Lasers off.
Gives us a little bit of perspective on how thick some of this crust might be.
Huh.
Almost looks like a slice of pie.
Such a sharp cut. Kind of has like a burnt look to it, you know?
Left in the oven too long.
Yeah.
So I think there's a urchin to the lower right.
Is it really small or?
Small right there.
Oh. You gonna try to grab it from here? See if we hear interest, and then we'll reset if you're excited about it. Come in if you got it.
This looks like it could be a sea urchin. Yes, yeah,
Watch, did you
it
want
looks
a
like
closer look at this one?
diatomatic, but I'm not sure if it's... Yeah, could we just have a snap zoom here?
Yeah, video, do you have any more zoom or not?
It's max zoom.
Just to see if we can...
Alright, come out and I'll get closer to it. Good, quick head over there.
Yeah.
I'm going to range down your sonar to 20 meters, pilot.
Alright.
Give you a little more definition.
All right, moving on up. So it's a possible diatomated sea urchin, not one that we've seen before, but looks like it was feeding on some of the seafloor organic material or small organisms.
We haven't, like, the last couple of days haven't seen so many sea urchins. This was like the first one we've seen.
Yeah. There was a formosoma a little bit deeper, but not one we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
It had the pouches, or the modified spine tips, but they were very small.
Put lasers back on if you wanted.
Coming on.
Yeah, it was maybe
Large, fuzzy. And never mind, it was shadows.
a couple minutes before you
This is little,
came back.
little guy.
Oh, okay.
Right here. Come in. Little guy.
A little
Ah.
baby something there. Tough to make out. Probably an anemone or close relative, maybe a Corallimorpharian, but given the rough texture of the body wall, I would say it's probably more anemone. And I don't quite see knobby tentacle tips. And the
Copy
oral
that bridge.
disc is
Now's a
pretty,
good time.
pretty deep, It's not
And
as
just
broad.
to confirm, the rotation will be about the A-frame.
All right, roll. Let's let it go.
Copy
All right,
that.
thanks, pilot.
We'll wait for your word to call in another move. Move is complete, pilots. Ship's going to make a heading change. I'll call another move in once they're done with that.
Copy.
You should just be starting to feel that move now, Lars.
Yeah, I'm starting to creep forward.
Geologically, this site is quite interesting because we haven't seen such, I guess, fresh rock in any of these dives, and it seems like there's these really jagged outcrops that maybe pieces have broken off, and there's quite a bit of loose rock, it seems.
.230.
The material here looks much more friable and broken than in previous days. We were diving on the west wall of the canyon, and it is similar to this, but not quite. It was more big, blocky, very large, consolidated carbonate boulders rather
Seen a
than
fire
this
for up from
kinda
lasers
small
left.
Let's gonna go
friable
for the
material.
I've seen a bunch.
Where's this?
Is there a sea star on the left, or am I seeing things?
Is this your top?
Nope. Above.
Drive me to it, roll.
There.
I think that maybe is a rock.
Upper left.
Yeah.
Brown
We can
puff.
pass on that then.
Top of the edge.
Yeah, it looks like it's
Top.
part of the rock exposed.
Right here?
Top right.
Oh, that, I
Clump
think
there.
that's just a...
Seen a fire for.
Xenophi.
It's going to be hard to find these sea stars if they're on this rock.
Yeah, so we're looking at some, looks like possibly debris, or it could be sponge rubble, or it could be a xenophyophore. It's not a xenophyophore I immediately recognize, but they make all sorts of different shaped houses out of the sediment.
Sorry, Roland, I thought this was like a rock.
Religious rock.
Very good. Thanks, pilot.
All right.
Very holy.
I have a feeling, though, that's
Copy
more
that,
sponge
bridge.
rubble.
Thanks.
That's pretty fouled with a lot of this organic material in the area. It's in the
I'll
water
go ahead and
column.
call in another 20 meters. 085.
To the upper left, is that some sort of wire or debris
You frame it up.
in the canyon there?
Oh, looks like a stick.
No. Just a stick. False alarm.
Bridge, RV nav. Yeah, we're going to put in another move, please, of 20 meters. That's 20 meters, bearing 085, speed decimal 2 knots.
Buenas tardes. Hoy estamos explorando la pared
That's a good copy.
este de cañón submarino de Mona. Es en el noroeste de Puerto Rico.
Go for fish.
Estamos ahora en la profundidad de 2.331 metros.
In. You got it.
A little bit more iron manganese coating here.
Yeah.
Keep going up. Looks like you can see over it. Pretty much.
But still, you can see it looks like it's very partially worn or eroded somehow.
Eroded or broken off.
Got one
These
sponge
fractures
here.
are pretty sharp.
Looks like a different breed.
Copy.
Look into it from this
Another
side.
sponge,
All right.
Poliopogon, in the genus
I'll
Poliopogon.
keep an eye on your swingers as you get closer.
Okay.
It's a type of glass sponge.
The lowers are out a little bit farther than
Yeah.
normal.
I'm really glad we
Bring 'em
took a
in
piece
if
of
you
that
like.
yesterday.
Yeah,
Frame it up.
this one's a little bit chunkier.
Yeah.
I'll do that rotate on the other side.
All right.
Definitely thicker, but they have this concavity on one side. I think that's a pretty easy distinguishing characteristic. This one kind of seems to have that concavity on both
Both.
sides, actually.
Turn the lasers off.
Maybe get a shift in currents.
Come out a little bit.
This is definitely a different faunal community from
Alright,
what we
thanks, Roland.
have been seeing
Nice
on
side
the
view.
inside of the Caribbean Basin.
So
Where we're diving
Sears
into
will
these
probably
depths
start feeling that move in
at
1 or 2 minutes.
Yagway Spur.
Copy that.
I'm gonna come up
Different
over there.
substrate
Yeah.
entirely. We were seeing
Pilot
their
might want to push ahead a
very
little bit.
substantial bases of some sort of organism, possibly a coral. Most likely a coral, probably not a sponge. They're very hard.
Also, that ridge off of South La Parguera too is in this a little bit deeper, but in this depth range.
Yeah, there's a crack or that rock that's coming towards the bottom center. There's a stalk in front of it.
Not seeing it yet.
It's just the edge of the rock.
Zoom in.
Yep.
There we go. That's something.
First pair of
This
corals.
is actually very reminiscent of the bamboo coral we were seeing just a few days ago.
I'll get closer, Roland.
This is, yeah, I can see the nodes now. Very faint. Faint brown, very thin.
So you're probably just starting that 20-meter move, Lars.
Copy
Oh,
that
look
now.
at the
Thank you.
current. You could really see the debris
You're,
off of the.
Yeah, wow. It's like a hurricane force current for these little polyps. But I'm sure they're really enjoying it.
You rotate me up
So I
a little bit.
have
Actually,
the,
kind of awkward
so it's,
setup.
the
I'll try to
this
hold this.
particular coral doesn't look like it's branching
Do you want me to take your
at the
camera?
node,
Yeah, you
so
can
we'll
take it.
call that an internodal brancher.
Have your camera.
Did
These
we
kind of
collect this?
mushroom-shaped polyps. I think this
This is the one that we collected the other day,
very similar.
because
Yeah.
it was like kind of branching perpendicular to the main.
And the polyps were extremely sparse and very large. Yeah, I would say so.
Thanks,
Full
Bridge.
screen.
What is
Ship
that
move is
behind
complete.
it? Is that an enemy, or is that us? Another?
Oh yeah, in the background, that's a solitary hydroid. Something like, something probably in the Corymorphidae family.
Pilot, I need to take my camera back relatively soon.
I got you.
Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, pilot.
All right.
Great. Giving you back your camera, pilot.
Yeah, I think
So this just shows you how diverse
think Chris was gonna
these benthic these
jump in.
deep sea
Someone
habitats
swap
are,
them. I don't know if
because
he did.
just I mean we're just right across the canyon, and the substrate's much different.
Yeah,
compared
Dive super,
to,
this is Nav.
as well as tectonically active.
yeah.
You know, we can attribute a lot of these possible landslides, if it's that, and general
Different
motion of the
sponge,
rock
upper right.
Approaching now.
moving downslope. It's also due to tectonic activity,
Coming up with you.
or primarily due
Alright.
to tectonic activity.
How much move do we have left? Should I keep
There's
going?
something in the sediment.
Yeah,
Lower left.
Sears probably
Let's snap
halfway through that 20-meter move.
Oh, sea cucumber.
Yep, there's another one.
A little small one.
it. Not a lot of time rolling.
Looks like an elpidiid or a sea pig or a close relative of the sea pig.
No problem.
Has these
We're just going to inquire to see if
quote-unquote walking
Levi
legs.
needed to go to that
Yeah.
lockout,
Used to
tag out
move
training.
across the
Frame it.
seafloor.
Yeah.
Okay, copy
go
that.
ahead,
Thanks.
And then this one looks like a farreid sponge.
Chris is going to come
Yeah.
take your spot for a bit.
I really like these. They look like the shallow water algae padina.
Oh, right. Yep.
All right, why don't you go ahead and push up slope, Levi?
Alright,
Bouquet
video,
of
come on.
flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a little bit more life here. We should point out that the past couple of things we've seen too that have been carved and
we got
attached
pushed up slope a bit
have been
before
more
he
or less on
come
the
up. Does the swap.
darker substrate,
Flowers.
the iron manganese coated rocky surface rather than on the white fresh material. That also tells us something about the geology and the history of the rock in this area. If there's not a lot of things attached to the whiter, lighter substrate, which is assumed to be fresher, it might mean that it could have happened more recently than we
Go
think.
ahead, Dev, super room.
Because biology
We just got a
hasn't
hold of
had
Chris.
sufficient
He's going
enough
to come
time
sub it
to
for Levi while he does the
attach
lockout,
to it.
tag out training. Correct. Sometimes. Copy that. Thank you, Dive Super Room.
I like it. Doesn't that look like it just wants to
Yeah,
fall
fall.
off?
I was gonna say that. That big.
If I
Yeah, it
bump
looks
it,
loose. Don't bump it.
Maybe you can find where it came from.
Yeah.
So this seems like it's a pretty active area. I mean, I'm not a geologist, but
Yeah, definitely.
don't quote me.
It's hard to tell because the sediment here is darker than I think what we usually find, and that might indicate there's a higher percentage of organics and organic phytodetritus in there.
So your
Usually
move
we're
should be about
used
finished
to
up,
the
Lars.
bright colored sediments. This one's probably some of the darkest we've seen, at least at this depth. It's not unusual. Canyons do have the ability to channel organic material into the deep sea. With the current moving south to north as it has been over the entire dive so far, that could indicate that it's moving
Pilot.
material from the area of the island up on the carbonate platform
Gentlemen.
down through the canyon.
So
into the
Sirius
deep sea bathos.
probably just finishing up swinging from a 20-meter move. We just got up to this depth and haven't explored much, so I'll go ahead and put another move in. If you want to explore this area for a few minutes, it's about a 4-minute delay right now.
And we've been doing 8.5?
085, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
we're approaching what high pack is indicating is the steepest part of the slope, 42 degrees, so there could be some pretty steep faces ahead of us. So
Copy.
but Sirius can see relatively far on its sonar, seeing returns at 45 meters away. So thinking maybe 15-meter moves,
Yeah.
spaced out by a few minutes.
Sounds good.
Sound good to you, co-pilot?
I agree. Yes.
Okay. You want to maintain 085 or do you want to adjust?
085 looks good. Maybe I could probably even cheat over to like 080, but
Yeah,
085 for now.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead and adjust now or do you want to wait?
Do it now.
Okay.
Cool.
We'll do 080 then.
I'll swing over a little.
Copy.
I think that looks pretty good. I'll go ahead and call it in. 15 meters, 080.
Copy that.
Bridge, ROV nav.
Pretty substantial
I'd like to
layers
request
here.
another move, please. 15 meters, that's 15 meters, bearing 080, speed decimal 2 knots. That's a good copy.
There, is that something or is that debris?
I see a coral lower left. One long stick coming out of the wall.
Yeah,
Not
we
really a wall, it's more of an outcrop,
can take a look here.
but vertical surface. This one looks a little
Good video. Let's start to push in. I'll try to hold it. You can fill frame with the.
Oh, what is this?
Just hold there.
This looks like a primnoid.
I don't see any nodes.
Yeah, I
But
think this is
hard.
a primnoid octocoral. In which case, it strongly resembles Candidella. At least, the polyps are slightly oriented
Just watch your
up
brow.
axis, which
It's hard to see how close it is, but
yeah.
Are they
Yeah,
common
lower
in
swing
this
arm,
depth
pretty
range?
much straight out.
Copy.
Apparently,
Okay,
this is
video.
the deepest I've
Come on
seen
in.
it. It's not unusual. Yeah, I would say this is probably Candidella gigantea, which is
Co-pilot, could you take my minis?
becoming
and tilt up
increasingly
to the
well
ground,
known in
please?
this area, but is not extremely well known.
Where would you like
It's
it?
been identified a few times from
Straight
the
up.
Bahamas, at least.
Coming straight up.
Very nice current environment, though. You can see polyps have actually captured a lot of particulate matter. Yeah, I would say beyond a doubt it's in the genus Candidella, in the family
Okay,
Primnoidae,
just looking between the
and
brow,
species probably
Perfect,
Candidella gigantea.
giving you back control.
Copy.
En la pantalla es un coral blando, se llama
Take video.
primnoid. Primnoid.
Tilt up.
Primnoid,
Size
yeah.
here.
Bacille candidella.
Full wide.
Very good.
Great, thank you.
We've seen that one other site so far. We've seen it at,
All right.
it was around St. Croix. I think it was the amphitheater. I'll have to go back into my notes now. Feels like it's so long ago. Although it's totally reasonable that it could have been observed at one of our coral hotspots, which was the southeast corner of the island at Punta Yeguas. That was, yeah, Candidella. No, that was Candidella imbricata.
Was it in the La Parguera, the deep one, the ridge?
No, it was a while ago. I think I'll take a look. But I wanted to point out too that that was the third coral we've seen that the holdfast or the base was directly on the manganese rather than on the white material, the more recently exposed material. It's a good indication that it could actually be, more stable at least, or historically more in place, in addition to the manganese coating. I remember the last time we saw Candidella gigantea, it was a very small one. That was one of the bigger colonies that I've seen in this area.
Watch lead pilot.
Yes, pilot.
I'm just curious how long it takes these fresh white faces to, like what's the timeline on becoming manganese encrusted?
Didn't Jason say like 1,000 years or?
Thousands to millions
Thank
of
you, Bridge.
years, yeah,
Oh.
depending on the depth, depending on the dissolved ions in the water column. And there's also a couple of other factors, like in the Pacific with cobalt crusts, which is another type of mineral crust that precipitates out on the rocks. They're usually associated with areas of low oxygen.
Copy that.
So a lot of different oceanographic factors go into these types of crusts.
You want to snap zoom here, video?
Does
It
look
looks like something, but
tough to say. It's
Yeah,
really
how's
fouled,
the,
right?
CTD looking? Are we still having pretty wild salinity reading?
Let's get it up there. ROV CTD salinity 36.58.
Oh wow, yeah.
CP salinity 34.94. Still reading a couple of integers higher.
Yeah, 36 is like the soy sauce of the ocean.
Okay, come on in video.
I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Maybe bryozoan?
Super fouled, right?
Yeah.
You got a lot of this detritus hanging off of it. Tough to say. It could be shelled organism, like
0 degrees.
Copy.
maybe a type of bivalve or tough.
Not sure.
Thanks, pilot.
I'll go ahead and call another one in.
There are these clear things right to the right of that pilot. They're branching.
Okay.
It's right under,
Just hold
I
on
think,
that.
that overhang.
I gotta reacquire. Okay, come on back in video.
I think it's just right to the right of the lasers. Do you see? I don't.
Top edge. Off screen upper left.
They are blending in with the background.
The white and
Might be a carnivorous sponge. Oh no. Ah, yeah. I think it's that cloud. I think it's a carnivorous sponge.
Oh yeah, it was tough to see. It just kind of has a really difficult contrast with the background, but I would say totally a carnivorous sponge.
Thanks, pilot.
Sure. Okay, when you're clear video, let's come on.
You rolling?
It was the Virgin Islands trough south wall.
Oh, okay.
So typical, you know, 20,
We'll do rolling. Thank you.
200 meter depth range. So about the same depth
All right,
range
I'm
even
gonna
that we saw
push
the
out a
last
little, and then I think we can get that moving.
Candidella.
Okay. Calling it in. 15 meters, 080.
Copy that.
Bridge, RV nav.
There's so few
Another
collections
move, please.
of that particular
15 meters, that's
species.
15 meters,
Well,
bearing
of that particular
080,
species in the
speed
western
decimal
Atlantic.
2 knots.
It's only known from Bahamas, and it was only collected, I think, as early as
Good copy.
or as late as 2008 or 2009.
Looking
Yeah.
down at you, 50
So it's
degrees.
not well.
Copy that.
Its distribution is not well mapped in this area, the Atlantic. It was fairly common actually in the Pacific as well. We were seeing something that resembled it, and it was identified as Candidella gigantea, but now we know that it does occur in the Atlantic. Typically at depths greater than 1,800 meters or so. I'll have to recall what depth we were seeing it in the Anegada Passage east of here. Yeah, this one also had that slightly upward orientation of the polyps, but when preserved they stick straight out,
Okay.
whereas most primnoids will either bend towards the axis, either up or down.
Oh, why is
Yeah.
that?
Come on in here, video.
Just the way that the plates are arranged on their body wall of the polyp. Another Phreid, maybe?
Maybe.
Or demo sponge.
Or maybe I think it's a different type of sponge.
Maxine.
Copy.
Tough call, right?
Yeah. And I'm not sure if it's a glass or a demo, but it looks like it could be a sponge.
Great pilot, thanks.
Sure. Thanks, video. Looks like we're getting into some seeper stuff here.
Yeah, this is the 42-degree section, and then it
Copy.
gets a little shallower up ahead.
Is that a fish right by the lasers?
A snap zoom video.
I think it's sargassum, seagrass.
Oh, no, debris. Looks like the last, yeah. Thank you.
Alright, this is off stick.
There is something upper right. I think it's a goosefish.
Is that so, video?
It's one of those angler type fish.
Still seeing a lot of. I actually thought there
I
would
see
be
it.
a steeper slope in this area, but it seems to be pretty gentle, actually. Well, relatively speaking, to what we were seeing yesterday.
Looks like that move is complete.
It's a hollow
Sirius
ferry
should
in to
start
the left.
swinging right about now, or maybe within a minute.
Copy that.
Maybe an anglerfish rock.
Yeah, we'll
Looks like
Confirm.
debris.
It's two rocks that made me think they were fish today.
We haven't dove on a lot of canyons. This is only our second canyon dive of the expedition. we were diving on some ridge-like features on the south end of Puerto Rico off La Perguera ridges. I don't know if those would necessarily qualify as canyons. They were only a couple hundred meters high, but they were definitely ridges that had debris channels. But this canyon is a rather large feature, the Mona Canyon. Canyons are pretty well known for channeling a lot of deep water or deep currents from the shelf or from the shallow water down into the deep sea.
So there might be a steeper face just ahead of Sirius to the starboard side.
Yeah, about
About
25 meters.
meters.
Up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Some
Roger.
interesting stuff up there.
Okay.
I can start to cheat
Yeah,
that
look
way.
at this. This is
Yeah, it's like broken
like
off
half
or
of
I'll wait a
something.
couple more minutes and then
the left half of this seemed to
see
have
what you see
either
and
slided
move
off,
in if we need it.
slid off,
Sounds
or
good.
maybe this whole block just moved downhill.
When you're in a
Yeah, you can see
comfortable
that
position,
crack-
I'll just
the
peek up
cracks
over
right
this
here.
and see if I can
Oh.
see what's coming.
I bet you
When
this
you're
will be of
comfortable.
Yeah, I think we're okay
significance
here.
to some
You
of
wanna
our
go ahead and do that?
geologists
Yeah.
poke
on
up
shore.
real quick.
Hopefully they
Sure.
can tune in later, or we'll send them some imagery from
Thanks,
today.
Bridge.
Yeah, it seems pretty close, but I believe I'm over. Ooh, maybe not. Yeah, it's gonna get pretty steep here, pilot.
Copy.
Coming back down to you.
Roger. We'll come up, characterize it here before Nav gets another move in.
Yep.
Pushing
Thank
ahead.
you for the change in light video. Change in contrast.
So we are extending our dive today by 2 hours since we got a late start, thanks to the ROV team and the ship crew.
So that puts us about
Yeah,
four
5:15.
more hours of bottom time about,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. We have a pretty ambitious dive track today.
Pushing up.
Looking down at you, 6'5".
Copy.
I'm gonna put you in the bottom of my screen if that's alright, so I can keep an eye on this face
Sounds good.
as we come up. You also have a decent view in your mini Zeus.
Yeah,
Looks like a
Yeah,
little nub that pokes out.
I'm tilted up 20 degrees too on main Zeus.
Copy that.
Yeah, definitely a trend here that I'm noticing, that the biology seems to be attached to the
Yeah.
more manganese-coated hard bottom. And then as soon as that manganese crust is
Are you guys hearing
broken,
noise from
we
my
have all
headset
this like rock that just
at all? No.
falls apart. Seems pretty friable, causing a lot of small rubble.
Okay, well that's what I mean.
I wonder when this occurred.
I muted you and I still
Interesting
hear
bit
that
of-
background noise.
Yeah.
Maybe if we see an interesting rock collection before the end of the dive today, we can take a look at that to see if there's any difference in the rock we collected at the bottom of the slide versus at the top. There's some
I'm gonna come up over this face here.
iron manganese. Quite a bit here.
Hmm.
Huh.
Gotcha.
It doesn't look like there's a lot of exposed bottom, but actually it's just covered by a thin film of this marine snow or
So Sirius is probably done swinging
phytodetritus.
now from that last move, Lars.
Copy that. Once we get over this feature, I'm starting to get better sonar returns. We might be able to do another 15.
They might want to
It's
explore
impressive.
this for
I
a little
think,
bit.
you know, if the
Probably, yeah,
ground
we
here
do
was a
some
little
amount
bit more
tether.
consolidated, I think this would be a
to explore.
real hot spot for
Copy.
corals. But
Oh, here's something
there's a whip
branching.
up there.
Left middle.
Copy.
They're actually much easier to pick out today against the
dark substrate. Usually we're looking at lighter colored sediments and trying to pick out razor thin skeletons. It's a little bit easier.
Okay, video, let's come in here. I know it's not super close, but got a good toe hold.
Oh, there's two.
Couple of things. Can't tell what the one in the back is. It looks a little
Kind of looks
different.
like bryozoan-ish.
The base looks pretty calcified. Tough to see. Yeah, it does look like one of the bryozoans we usually have seen before.
Coming down to the base.
Pilots, just out of curiosity, what's your position if we wanted to collect one of these or both of them?
Sirius is settled out. We're in a good position.
I think we could make that happen, watch lead.
I'm just curious, how big is the small fan behind the larger one?
You want to come wide and we can get lasers?
Lasers are
A
on.
couple centimeters.
There you go, watch lead.
What do you think about the feasibility in grabbing the one behind? Is it too small?
I think we could grab it. The other one is perfectly in the way, but
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
can,
well, I was thinking of taking that one first.
okay.
Yeah, I would at least like to grab a piece of the coral in front since we're settled out.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to get closer, but I think we can do that.
Okay.
Full wide video.
You're full wide.
Copy. Co-pilot, could we bring our port lower swing arm in, please?
Copy that. Wrapping up. How far in would you like it?
Let's just do all the way.
All the way, coming all the way. Port lower swing arm is all the way in.
Copy that. Thank you.
I'm going to leave you ramped up for hydraulics.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks.
I believe we do not have any biological samples yet, so all of the
We do
bio
not.
boxes are open.
Thank you, Roland. On Minizies. Gonna have to get in a little tighter, don't you think? You think that's too far out there? Okay, can you bring up Minizies on your...
Pretty far. It might be able to reach, though. I think it'll be able to reach.
Do you want me to bring it down?
Yeah, please.
Okay, taking control. Coming down.
It's just a weird angle.
Yeah.
I could bring my right toe around and just go square.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
You're just trying to avoid stirring up dust on your right toe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the current's blowing me off, so it's just going
Trying
to be
to head
fighting
into
it.
Yeah.
But we can just persuade it.
If it's easier for me to press joy lock, I can also do that for you.
Copy. Thank you. video, would it be okay to throw our headlights on for this?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go ahead and do that.
Okay,
Copilot.
headlights coming on. 3, 2, now.
Great, thank you.